Michael Hunter has made some very strange decisions in his boxing career, at least to me. Up until a couple years ago, he was trained and I think managed as well by Hasim Rahman Sr., and it seemed to be a fruitful relationship because all of his best performances were with Hasim Rahman Sr. At cruiserweight, he put in a decent showing against Alexander Usyk. Obviously, Usyk was the man in that weight division, and Michael Hunter did lose a UD, but not before winning quite a few of the early rounds in that fight. So he acquitted himself very well. When he moved up to heavyweight, of course, he stopped Martin Bakole in 10 rounds, which was a good performance. He beat Sergey Kuzmin, another good performance. And by the way, for my money, Martin Bakole was very fortunate to get the decision over Sergey Kuzmin. Just putting it in perspective, Hunter beat Bakole and he also beat Kuzmin. Dropped Kuzmin in the 5th round as well when they fought. Also had that draw with Alexander Povetkin. Personally, I felt as though Hunter was unfortunate not to get the decision there. I'm not saying it was a robbery or anything, but for me, Hunter just edged that fight. But after that, Hunter left Matchroom. He turned down a fight against Filip Hrgović. He thought he was going to get the bag at Triller. He had a bunch of nothing fights over there against Sean Lowry, Mike Wilson, and Jerry Forrest. The Lowry and Wilson fights were easy enough, but the Jerry Forrest fight, which was a rematch, Hunter beat Forrest comfortably earlier on in his career, turned out to be a nightmare for Michael Hunter, and it ended up being a split decision draw, which many feel, including myself, that Hunter was extremely fortunate to get. For me, he lost that fight. I think he totally underestimated Jerry Forrest. So if you look at the pattern since leaving Matchroom and splitting up with Hasim Rahman Sr., it's not a good look. He did try to fight Hughie Fury, but even that is a strange fight to go for because Hughie Fury has this long track record of poor health and pulling out of fights because of that poor health. And that's the guy that you try fight. That fight was called off twice, right? And now, after all this, rather than signing with a major promoter, even if it's just a short-term deal, he instead has decided to sign up for something called TCL Pro. This is some type of tournament where, as you can see here, he's got 4 fights lined up. The first fight against Norman Neely, a guy who's 1-1. The next fight, interestingly, is against Hasim Rahman Jr., the son of his former trainer and manager, Hasim Rahman Sr. And then it says he's got a fight against Adrian Taylor. 2 of these fights were scheduled to have taken place yesterday. I don't know if they went ahead. BoxRec isn't showing any results here. It's just got a question mark. And the next fight against Adrian Taylor is scheduled for the 4th of May. So this seems to be just a little stay busy exercise for Michael Hunter. But at 34 years of age, he really needs to get a move on and secure a big fight. He's got the amateur experience. He had over 100 amateur fights. He fought in numerous tournaments and what have you. He fought Tyson Fury in the amateurs. He fought Andy Ruiz in the amateurs. He fought Artur Beterbiev and several other notable names. And of course, as a pro, he's got plenty of notable names on his resume. So he has all the experience necessary to go straight in and be fighting the best guys. But it seems due to, again, business decisions, his career has become stagnant. And I don't know the ins and outs with regards to his split from Hasim Rahman. All I can tell you is a tree is known by its fruits, and that decision hasn't been very fruitful, at least not from a career boxing perspective. I don't know whether he really got the bag from Triller. Wasn't Mike Tyson accusing Triller of not paying him? Did they pay Michael Hunter? I don't know. But Triller don't seem to be a player anymore in boxing. They seem to have been a flash in the pan. Hunter just isn't in a position to be diva-ish. And that's the way he was carrying on with that Filip Hrgović fight. He was making out as though he deserved a lot more money than what he was being offered. And this is after saying that he'd fight for free or he doesn't care about money and this, that, and the other. You know, all that kind of rhetoric. But when push came to shove, he ducked the fight, which was very disappointing to me because I'm somebody that actually rates Michael Hunter. I think on his day, he's a problem for most heavyweights, including Hrgović, by the way. But I guess he didn't like the risk-reward factor. So he ducked the fight. And he's been paying for it since because if he had gone through with that Hrgović fight and let's say won, he'd be in a great position right now. I think the next 12 to 18 months are really make or break for Michael Hunter. Either he does something significant in the next 12 to 18 months or it's probably over for him. I know there are fighters like Zheli Zhang, for example, who at the age of, 39, 40, has had an Indian summer in his career, but he's a big heavyweight. With smaller heavyweights who rely on their speed and mobility and what have you, they don't tend to have that kind of longevity. generally speaking, because they have to train harder than the big guys. They have to do more in the ring. They have to exert more energy in order to win fights against big opponents. And that takes its toll. At 34 years of age, it has to be now. That's what I think about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.